speaker who came from Algeria and especially from Tlemcen University. Mr. Dr. Zubair Demdem, who is going to speak about early acquisition of standard Arabic and shrinking diglossia. Mr. Zubair, the floor is yours. Please respect the 15 minutes.
First, I'd like to thank everybody here in this international conference, and in particular organizers, and mostly in particular Dr. Naima Karimas for all she's doing to make everybody at ease. Right, my talk will be a little bit not really multilingualism, but it's still, as it's a problem of dialectal and standard Arabic, so it's part of contact between languages and these things. And it is, as you can see, early acquisition of standard Arabic and shrinking diglossia. This issue has been one of my preoccupations for many years. Because I have always thought that the fact that our pupils, their children, starting with the acquisition of their home dialect, and then 6 years later they go to school, they are faced with a variety which is the standard form of Arabic, which is sometimes quite distant from their own mother tongue. And so, as an introduction, outline, this is the problem of diglossia, in relation especially to formal education. I will show two research questions and hypotheses, and something about the linguistic profile. And the objective, what I feel as an objective, a future objective of this research would be to reduce shrinking. You have noticed how I wrote shrinking in the title. This shrinking or reducing diglossia in preschool learning, using preschool learning for better achievement at primary level. Okay, as for the results, I'll say from now that methodologically speaking, I haven't followed really, this investigation needs deeper, the use of perhaps two or more instruments of investigation. But what I've done, in fact, is just personal observation, which I will explain soon. So I've already said this. The title itself reveals this, or it's a wish rather, a hope, a possibility of acquisition of standard Arabic by children at an early age, 2 or 3 years before school learning. In fact, there are preschool centers in Tlemcen and elsewhere, I suppose here as well, where little children begin to get in contact or in touch with the standard form of Arabic, in some ways at least. Okay? So the hope, the aspiration is to reach that point where the distance between dialectal forms of Arabic and standard Arabic gets shrinking more and more until the ultimate goal would be, and that's perhaps something utopian, but not impossible, the acquisition of modern standard Arabic as a mother tongue. And that would be the case, that would be the aim for the whole Arab world, not only Algeria or Morocco. For the whole Arab, there's the same problem, this is a general issue in the whole Arabic-speaking world. So, I'll read quickly the questions. The first one is, what can make fresh primary school pupils easily and efficiently acquire knowledge and academic achievement in standard Arabic? What can we do for that? The hypothesis is that we know that the best means of formal instruction is in the mother tongue. This has been shown by scholars, and it has better academic achievement can only be obtained if our children are acquainted with Standard Arabic as early as possible. Preparation for school. And I have related this issue with the cognitive development of the child. What impact does the language instruction have on children's cognitive development when their mother tongue is far distant from standard? Which means that along the development or along the acquisition of the mother tongue, the child naturally, automatically develops his thinking, perception of the world, memory, and all these things. They go together with the acquisition of a concept and its image, for example, of that concept in the language is acquired. And so, when the child reaches school age, these concepts will be different. These images, these acoustic images, for example, will be different. And so there is a kind of disruption. Formal education in a different form of the language acquired as a mother tongue will certainly cause disruption in the child's cognitive growth. So, I will not linger much on the linguistic situation because it's the same, practically the same in Morocco and in Tunisia as well. You know, the different historical events which have made all this area shift, for example, from Tamazight to some Turkish and then later on Spanish and then Turkish and then French colonization. By the way, French was the most important impact in Algeria because colonization and the ideology of the French was to we have to say it, okay, we know it, was to eradicate the Arabic language and to replace it by French. And perhaps this is one reason why Algeria is much more affected by this linguistic imperialism, as I may call it, as Philipson said in 1968, I think. So what makes the linguistic situation is that Algeria is both diglossic and multilingual, including, of course, French, Berber languages, okay? But the French linguistic and cultural influence characterize Algeria as well as Morocco and Tunisia, though perhaps, I don't know, but I don't know if I'm wrong, to a much lesser extent, but apparently after this conference I discovered that it's practically the same in Morocco, by the influence of French. So this leads us to having a different personality from the other Arab states, as Gordon says. Okay, if we take Egypt or Syria, I mean, things are different, very different from what linguistically speaking, from what has happened in our Maghreb area. So the aim, I think it will be just repetition because I've already said that, to prepare children during preschool, 2 years or 3 years, of course, not teaching the language itself, but through playing, singing, pictures, role play, whatever, but using little words, little expressions from the standard, instead of I mean, with the aim of getting them accustomed to this, okay? But also, as I said, to avoid any dramatic disruption or issue in their cognitive development, which is indeed caused by diglossia. The field work, as I said, is based on the academic achievement or school achievement considered in pupils' first years in primary school. These learners, these pupils who supposedly have, not supposedly, I've observed a number of them, but supposedly those who have already been in contact with Standard Arabic for 2 or 3 years before the age of 6. Okay? Okay. And I have tried to compare the results of these learners at school, primary school, first year, second year, third year, with those who haven't been in contact with standard form, not exposed to preschool experience in modern standard Arabic. The objectives, I mean, it'll be just a repetition because I've already mentioned this. In my observation has revealed pupils' weaknesses in school, in particular those who are not exposed to standard Arabic before school, in opposition with those who have been exposed. Okay? Just to remind, we know this, but there is a self-evident vision in a statement by the UNESCO using the first language acquisition as to teach. Okay, they said the vision is this: it is axiomatic that the best medium for teaching a child in his mother tongue, educationally, he learns more quickly through it than through an unfamiliar linguistic medium. So, what is to be done with pupils when they are faced with a school language that differs substantially from their mother tongue? We have, of course, two options. Either implementing the mother tongue, one of the dialects, in the case of Algeria or Morocco, one of the dialects as a means of formal instruction instead of modern standard Arabic. But in this case, you can imagine the task and the almost impossible realization of this because of the number of dialects, different dialects, so they have to be standardized. And if they are standardized, then why not using the standard form which already exists? And so that's the second option, which I prefer, which is, you know, ready there. Get children to gradually acquire MSA as a mother tongue, or at least a variety that is very close to it. This reminds me of something which occurred during the standardization processes that occurred in Europe, starting from the 15th in Britain and 15th century, 16th century, and these centuries in Britain, in the European world, right? The standardization of English, for example. What was the dialect? It was just a dialect, the dialect of the court, which was imposed, I mean, we can use the word, imposed on little children to be taught in it at school. Same thing occurred in French, which means that they dropped their dialects. I mean, and this was successful. A unification of the language, and standard English today is not very far from many dialects around London, for example. Okay, and so this is the idea. Well, I will not speak about diglossia, but this is the problem. I know time, there's only this time constraint. There's just this point which I'd like to finish with. Freeman says an important component of diglossia is that the speakers have a personal perception that the high variety is the real language and that the low variety is incorrect usage. In Arabic, people talk about the high variety as being pure Arabic and the dialects as being correct forms. So, my point is, why not switch perhaps gradually or do something, but of course, as we said a few minutes ago this morning, it has to come from the top, from the language planners, language policy of each country. I think that the rest is just some explanations of. So, in the conclusion, I would like to say that this wished-for proposal of getting diglossia to shrink and fade away seems to be pretentious, as I said, utopian even. But it is not impossible if a systematic two-year preschool program is put into action. Its implementation will certainly have far-reaching positive impact on education, but also on the society as a whole. Thank you very much.